Hello and welcome. We're going to take a look at a picture of Freddy Krueger today, but before we get into the description, let's talk a little bit about the music we're listening to as well. Night on Bald Mountain. This is actually one of my favorite classical pieces of music by a Russian composer in 1865, Modest Mussorgsky. I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing that right, but hopefully I did some justice. You may know it as one of the songs that came from the movie Fantasia, which is actually where I know it from as well. Lucky for me, it's part of public domain, so I don't have to pay for the rights for it or anything like that. No copyright to worry about. But it is, I think, a very ominous piece of music, and so it suits the subject matter here very well. So, let's talk about Freddy. Now, in just a second, you're going to see the background turn red. Just like that. And this is really what this whole piece is all about. I wanted to try to experiment with something where we had one predominant color, in this case red, informing everything else that's going on in the picture. Not only background, but also the figure as well. So red can be thought of as our mid-tone, our flesh tone that we're going to build shadows and lights off of. And again, that's going to apply both in the background, which is why you have some of that airbrushed black in there, and in a little bit, shadows and lights applied to the face and hand, and the glove as well, to just get that rich three-dimensionality out of the face as well. So as we get in here, I'm just kind of laying in some flat colors on top of the red. We have the kind of silverish blue for the claws. We've got the eyes in there already, and in a little bit, you'll see that we're going to start covering up the sweater with the green stripes that'll, kind of are indicative of that sweater that he wears. Now, again, red isn't forming everything here, so even when we're laying over browns and greens and stuff like that for the various other colors, the red is still kind of coming in from the background to kind of lend some sort of a tone or a value to any of the colors that are placed on top of it. So there is a certain sense of translucency here, and you can already see where in the face I'm trying to bring out some pinks and some oranges to bring certain areas of that scar tissue to the forefront and maybe push back some of the kind of deeper craters of that scar tissue with shadows a little bit later on. And that's really what these pieces are all about. Anytime I'm trying to do something where I'm trying to eliminate line work and create a true kind of photorealistic type of image, I'm really trying to play off a balance between light and shadow. Now, the way that I do that, and to varying levels of success, but the way that I do that is by creating multiple layers. So I have a shadow layer that's kind of a light shadow, then another shadow layer that's going to be darker, more rich, and maybe even more black shadows, and then of course to do the same thing with lights, a light layer, and then maybe really a bold white light layer, sometimes for the rim lights on the other side of the face. You'll see all those come in gradually, but what I end up doing is I kind of move back and forth to try to achieve balance. So I'll add in a shadow layer, then add a light layer to try to create balance there, and if I feel like something's off, then we'll go back to the shadows, play around with that a little bit, and go back and forth until I achieve that sense of balance, and that sense that I feel like everything is as three-dimensional as I'm going to get it. And again, to varying levels of success. I feel like I got some success here in certain areas, and there was other areas where I kind of just let it go and said I got it about as close as I can, but I didn't quite get there. Your opinion may vary. But I think that there were some areas, like I said, where they were very successful. And as an example of that might be the claw that reaches up in front of his mouth and his nose. There's a shadow that's going to be laid in there, and I go back in there over and over and over again and darken it and darken it and darken it some more. And by the time I'm happy with it, I really feel like that claw is definitely sitting right in front of that mouth and in front of the nose. And you can see where the claw almost presses on the tip of the nose just based off how the shadow is laid in there. I could say something similar about how the brim of the hat comes over the face as well. Now, ultimately, the point here is that I wanted to make something really creepy, hence the dark blacks and the scratched kind of lettering around there and everything like that. But your eye is really kind of meant to be drawn to the figure there. That the background is really kind of secondary almost. So shadows, again, in the glove. But really more importantly, I'm trying to go for textures here. I'm trying to get that thread kind of knit woven texture of the sweater. That I should have hopefully succeeded somewhat in getting that metal texture on the metal that covers the fingers of the gloves. And of course that flesh scar kind of shiny type of texture that exists in the scar tissue on the face as well. Hopefully maybe you're even getting something of a felt type feeling from the hat as well. Now there's not really much else to say about this other than, again, that balance between light and shadow is the ultimate goal. But I'm going to kind of fade out here and let you enjoy the rest of this with a little bit of music in the background. Again, one of my favorites, Night on Bald Mountain. Enjoy.